with 1 minute to go. I acknowledge and call the Honourable Member Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, privacy seems to be a bit of a theme for the week in the House at the moment. We were dealing with another bill that related to privacy issues last night, and this is in fact part of a series of bills that appear to be coming before the House at the moment to do with the storage of personal information by government agencies and the sharing of and use of, and it's a debate that's well overdue. It's interesting, as a constituency member of Parliament, I can tell you that there are two very clearly defined sides of this debate. There are those who believe that nobody should ever store any information about anybody and nobody should ever share any information about anybody with anyone. And then there is the other side of the debate that can't believe that the government doesn't actually share information with itself and gets really, really frustrated by it, and as a result loses confidence in public services because of that. And so one of the risks that is highlighted in the regulatory impact statement, and in fact right at the general policy statement of this bill, is that the misuse of information stored by government agencies can result in a loss of confidence in those public services. But I also put it that the opposite of that is also true, that the not sharing of that information can equally lead to a loss of confidence in public services. No more so than in the case of very vulnerable citizens, particularly children, as many members have talked about. I think every member of the public finds it absolutely appalling when there is a case of child abuse or a case of neglect where agencies collectively have had enough information to have been able to identify it and deal with it, but because of a lack of information sharing between them, seems to be unable to do so. And I think that does lead to a lack of confidence in the process of government, and it is something that we, on all sides of the House, need to take very seriously and take action to address. Because we live in an age where people are perhaps a little bit less concerned about privacy. Some people are a little bit less concerned about privacy than others will have been. Younger generations of New Zealanders share a phenomenal amount of information about themselves in very publicly available forums, social media, for example, far more so than would have been available about people's lives in the past, and they do so freely. The question really becomes around the control of information, control of personal information. So who holds my personal information? Can I get it? Who are they sharing it with? How will I know? Those are all very legitimate questions for any citizen to be able to ask, and things that we need to keep in mind when we're considering any law change around privacy. I think it's really important that the government takes a quite coordinated approach to all of the different strands of work that are being done in this area. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Law Commission's involvement in this process provides some assurance to the public that in fact this isn't just going to be a knee-jerk reaction, it isn't going to be something that's ad hoc or piecemeal, that in fact there's a wider consideration of the underlying principles and values around privacy that are being considered, and it's not just being dealt with as a one-off. I want to turn to some of the problems with the status quo, the problems with not dealing with this. Obviously there is duplication of information collection and storage amongst government agencies if we don't have an effective means for sharing of the information. And all members, I think, around the House would like to see our public services operate more efficiently and provide a far more citizen-centric public service. So this is not one where our citizens are shunted from one department to the next, but one where, that whole no wrong door concept should apply to the public service. So it doesn't matter where you go, you're never going to the wrong place. They will make sure you end up in the place that you need to end up. And information sharing is going to be really important in that, and it will become increasingly more so. I think one of the other problems with our current regime is it prevents some personal information being used in a way that would speed up the detection of fraud or deter fraudulent behaviour. People know they can get away with it, so they do. And better information sharing will result in people knowing that they can't get away with it because they will get caught. And I think that's also really important, and therefore better coordination in those situations will be very beneficial. But I think by and large, the major benefit is around dealing with vulnerable people, making sure that people don't fall through the cracks. And in that regard, I think this bill is a very welcome move. We'll be supporting it to the Select Committee so that it can have a full hearing and people can have their say on it.
I call the honourable member David Clendon.
Kia ora, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kia ora.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to add a few comments to those made by